In this video, I will talk about the popular RSS Importer module that was created at the time of Plikli. And then we decided when we took over on Plikli to discontinue it because it presented a lot of challenges and problems. And the issue was that over like 30 questions were posed on Blig forum, and the few that were answered did not provide any correct information or any solution for the problem. I decided to give it a try, and then I dove into the code of this module and noticed that, well, so many things were broken in it, in the coding, and namely, the way it processed the import. That's one. Two, uh, which is very important because you don't want to use this module manually. You have to set the cron job, and the instructions and the files provided to make it work in a cron job were incorrect, completely incorrect and misleading. So I fixed everything in it. It's working, but it needs fine tuning. The most important thing is I want to reintroduce it in Plikli CMS because it's in demand and it's useful at the same time. But I will keep working on it because I need to fine tune a few things. I will get into that later when I show you how it works. But let's start first. Any module that is provided has a Readme file that explains the module, how it works, and the requirements, what and what not. So the first thing before you install the module is read the Readme file. Now I installed it. Let me take you to the Readme file quickly. So it shows what I did and proper instructions, how to set it and how to work with it, and how to create an accurate cron job that is guaranteed to work. I gave you the different scenarios here. Don't use the bash, use the PHP, and how you will have to set the cron and how you have to run it. So that's very important to check it here, and then we will go through this remark here about the tags. So let me first take you to the settings where I already created 3 different feeds to import. Now, to start with, not all the sites have or created their feeds based on the standard that must be used. So not all of them are conform to the standard. So in each one of them, like New York Times, they have something in their feeds that Reuters doesn't. And to explain it, I'm going to edit it here. You see, those are the different feeds. Let's go through them first. The frequency, the default is 12 hours. So the minimum is 1 hour. I set it to 1. And then those you read and then you decide what you want to do with it. I'm going to just tell you about the important stuff. The feed items limit, the default is 1, meaning it imports only 1 item from the feed. So you have to set it as high as you can, because I doubt that some feeds have more than 100 items in it. But just in case, set it to 100. I set it to 15 here. This way, if it has less, then it will import all of them. 00 is the default, meaning no, do not accept URL duplicates and do not accept title duplicates. The feed submitter ID is always the ID of the admin of the site, and normally it should be number 1. The feed category ID, whatever, it's up to the feed that you want to import. For instance, this is technology news, so it must be the category of the news that is created. The other one would be technology, so I will show you. Now, these are the fields that you want to import. You start by add a new field, and then, like, I'm gonna remove this because it's not needed, and then edit it again. Okay, if you click on this one, because this one, it's already created, you will have to look at the different fields that they have in their feed to match it with whatever we have in the links table. So for instance, for the title, you will have to match it with the link title. From here we have the different fields that are used. The link, meaning the link URL in here. The description, it's the link content. And this is the tricky part. This one has a DC creator. They don't have anything related to tags. I've rarely seen any feed that has tags in it. So you have to look for the closest item or field that you can match it with our link tags. Basically, the closest in here, because the publish date is not really helpful. The category, you cannot use it unless there's nothing else to use. So among these fields here, the closest one and the most logical one would be the DC creator. DC creator is the author of the feed. So basically, you will have this as a tag, which is and must be different than the category that we have. So while importing these feeds from the same place, you will have, as long as they abide with the same standard that they are using, they don't keep changing, you will end up with having the many tags for each creator, which makes sense, and this is how the tags work. So that's the closest one. You have to match a proper field or the closest one to the link tags. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you what happens. The module, as it is coded, it takes the title. If there is no tags that is created in here, it takes the title and then splits it into comma delimited string. And let's see this below. So what happens here is below comma is comma, so forth and so on, meaning is a tag, you is a tag. I understand associate and feed, that's fine, but where and you and is and below, those are not supposed to be a tag, and they shouldn't at all. So it doesn't make sense. Plus, there will be a problem, because if the title is long, that's what I'm gonna keep working on. I told you I have to fine tune it. The issue is, while it's importing the feed and inserting in the links table, it doesn't check for the settings that we have in the dashboard under the length of the title and the length of the tags. So basically, you will end up here with a string of tags when it splits the title. If there is no tags that is matched, that is too long. It accepts it, because it doesn't check. But the problem would arise when you go to edit the article. Then you go and edit something, and then you click save, and it gives you a message, tags too long. So that's the issue. And even for the title as well, if it's too long, it's still posted because it doesn't check. And then when you edit it, this is what's going to happen. You end up with like more editing than you are supposed to have. That's the fine tunings I'm going to work on. And there are something else. I'm going to make a check for the config and settings that we have, and it works based on that. This way you won't have any problem at all. So this is the introduction about the feed. And if we go back, so we've seen the New York Times. Let's quickly tell you about this one. For instance, the tags, they don't have a DC creator. So the closest one I chose is the category to match it with our link tags. Otherwise, we will end up with the same problem I just described about the tags, how it split the titles to make the tags. Now, back in here, the process is very, very simple. If you want to add a feed, all you have to do is add a new feed, and then you click in here, you give it a name, and then the URL of the RSS feed that you want to import. That's as easy as that. And then you go through whatever I explained now through these items here and adding the feeds. So let's see it in working. I've used it extensively, like it's been since October I'm using it. And believe me, I have almost a 500 megabytes database just for the links table that is all important through this module. And it didn't break once, and I'm using cron job properly. As I said, the explanation is provided to you in the Readme file. So now let's see it in action. It imported. Depending on the frequency, if you try to run it, for instance, if I run it again, it will give you that frequency is 1, meaning 1 hour. So I still have 0.9 of the hours to run. You can run anyway, and then you want, okay, I'm gonna run it and then see how, you see, title match, skipping, because it just ran and it found these same items in the feed. It's very convenient. Let's see it, how it is posted. See? So I'm using, as I said, when it depends on the feed that you are importing. The first one was news, so it will be news, the category. I created, because I'm importing technology feeds, so I created the category that is for technology under the categories here. So the ID is 2. You provide this ID in the field that I just told you where you have to put the field, the ID number of the category that you are using. Oh. ID number 2. And that's really convenient. And as I promised, I will keep working on it to make it like really compliant with the new CMS Plikli, and make it more user friendly and better process and so forth and so on.